You knew when you had a 9F. A driver once told me, a glint in his eye. You felt it, the sheer size of her. You knew you had a proper engine for a proper job. Even standing cold in a shed, the British Railways Standard Class 9F was an imposing sight. Designed by Robert Riddles, built after the Second World War, this wasn't an engine for glamour. It was a machine of pure, unadorned purpose, crafted from steel, crafted from fire to haul the nation's heaviest freight. With its colossal boiler, 10 driving wheels, a look of immense, brooding strength. When one of these locomotives emerged into the daylight trailing a plume of steam, it was a statement of intent. The hiss of the injectors, the slow, deliberate clang of the connecting rods, the deep, resonant chuff of the exhaust spoke of immense power held in check. These were the sounds that signaled the start of another grueling journey. The 9F was conceived as a heavy freight locomotive, a replacement for the aging fleet of engines that had seen Britain through the war. It was designed to be reliable, efficient. The first of the class rolled out of Crewe works in 1954. Over the next 6 years, 251 of them would be built Crewe Swindon. They were the last, and many would argue, the greatest of the standard designs produced by British Railways. Their appearance on the network was a game-changer. Suddenly, trains that had required the assistance of a second engine to climb steep gradients could be handled by a single 9F. They were a testament to post-war engineering, a final, magnificent flourish of steam technology, just as the shadow of dieselization began to lengthen across the land, a fact that would give their story a poignant, heroic quality. For the crews, a 9F represented a good day's work. It was a machine that, if treated right, would give you everything it had and more. The cab was relatively spacious. In the industrial heartlands of the Midlands, the 9F found its natural home. Here, the work was relentless, hauling vast rakes of coal wagons from the collieries, long trains of iron ore, finished steel from the foundries. These were the arteries of Britain's heavy industry. The 9Fs were the lifeblood, moving immense tonnages day and night. The lines around Toton, and one of Europe's largest marshalling yards, were a constant parade of black-liveried workhorses. A 9F would back onto a train of 100 wagons or more, couplings clanking and groaning down the line, and with a deep bark from its chimney begin the slow, inexorable task of getting the mass moving. Yorkshire presented different, harsher challenges. Heavy freight still, often coal from the Yorkshire pits, bound for power stations and ports. The terrain was more severe, long grinding Pennine climbs, the arduous ascent to Ace Gill on the settled Carlisle line, a true test of an engine's stamina. A 9F would dig in for the long haul, its exhaust beat echoing off the fells, the fireman working to maintain a full head of steam. In harsh northern weather, rain lashing cab windows, snow drifting across the tracks, the 9F's reliability comforted crews. One driver, remembering the Midland lines, spoke of its quiet determination. She wouldn't slip and slide like some of the older engines, he recalled. You'd open the regulator and she'd just lean into the collar and pull. You could feel the power through the footplate, a steady, solid push. Known affectionately and sometimes fearfully as the S&D, this winding, steeply graded line crossed the Mendip Hills. Bath, Bournemouth. It was famously difficult to operate, with long, punishing climbs like the one up to Masbury Summit. Before the 9Fs, the heaviest trains needed double-heading. Suddenly, a single 9F could take a heavy holiday passenger train, or a long freight unassisted over the Mendip Heights. A 10-coupled giant leaning into sharp curves, its exhaust blasting skywards, fighting up the gradient, an iconic image of the last decade of British steam. Large driving wheels and balanced weight gave sure-footedness on twisting track, immense tractive effort to conquer the inclines. Crews on the S&D spoke of the route's unique demands. Not just brute force, it required skill and judgment. The story of the 9F is inseparable from the stories of the men who operated them. The driver and the fireman were a team. Their lives and the performance of their engine depended on shared understanding. You didn't need to talk much, a retired fireman told me. I'd watch the pressure gauge and the water level. He'd watch the road ahead. I knew from the sound of the exhaust when he wanted more steam, and I'd get the coal on. It was a rhythm. We were part of the machine. Though designed as a freight-hauling brute, the 9F possessed a surprising secret. It was fast. Its 5-foot diameter driving wheels, while smaller than those of an express passenger locomotive, were large enough to allow for high-speed running. On the rare but notable occasions when a 9F was rostered to haul a passenger train, it often turned in a startlingly impressive performance. This usually happened when the scheduled express engine failed or during special events, and the powerful freight engine was called upon to fill the gap. To the surprise of many, it didn't just cope, it excelled. One of the most famous examples occurred in 1958, when a 9F number 92167 was tasked with hauling the Red Dragon Express from Shrewsbury to Paddington. Not only did it keep to the demanding schedule, this was an astonishing feat for a locomotive designed to haul coal at 30 miles per hour, and it made headlines in the railway press. It proved that Riddle's standard design was not just strong, but also incredibly versatile and well-balanced. These performances cemented the 9F's reputation as a go-anywhere, do-anything machine. While its primary role was always the unglamorous work of moving goods, these flashes of high-speed brilliance gave the class an almost mythic status among railway workers and enthusiasts. It was like a heavyweight boxer who, when asked, could also run a sprinter's race. The design's free-steaming boiler and efficient front end meant that it could produce the power needed for high speeds, and its excellent stability ensured a smooth ride even when pushed to its limits. The crews enjoyed these occasions, a chance to let their powerful engine really stretch its legs. The final engine of the class, number 92212, was named Evening Star. The reign of the 9F was powerful but tragically short. Introduced in 1954, the entire class was withdrawn from service by 1968. A victim of rapid modernization, diesel traction, electric traction swept steam from Britain's railways. Some of these magnificent engines were barely 5 years old when they were sent to the scrapyard, their potential cut short. Yet in their brief career, they made an indelible mark. They represented the peak of steam locomotive design, a final brilliant crescendo before the silence fell. Their reputation for power, reliability, versatility. Today, the legacy of the 9F is kept alive on Britain's heritage railways. 9 of the original 251 engines were saved from the cutter's torch, rescued by dedicated preservationists. Locomotives like Evening Star and others are now titans of the preserved lines, drawing huge crowds wherever they go. To see one in steam today is to witness living history. The ground shakes as it approaches, the air fills with coal smoke. The sheer physical presence is as awe-inspiring as it was in the 1950s. Archive films, photographs, cab view footage, recordings of their distinct exhaust beat all contribute to their enduring story. These resources let us step back in time into the gritty, atmospheric world of the steam-era railway. We can see them battling the gradients of the S, the D, marshalling endless coal trains in the Midlands, thundering through the Yorkshire fells. The motion of their wheels, the intricate dance of the Walshire's valve gear, tell a story of mechanical perfection. Ultimately, the story of the BR Standard Class 9F is a human one. Designers poured their knowledge into creating it. Crews brought it to life with fire and water. Machines of immense power, but the skill and hard work on the footplate translated that power into duty. The 9F was the steam giant that wouldn't quit, an engine that earned the deepest respect from those who knew it best. As one old driver put it, she was the best freight engine this country ever had. Simple as that. You could always count on a 9.